This is Travis Kellerman, Wilderness Guide, Grand Canyon South Rim. October 15th, 2024, 6:47 a.m. I'm recording this because, look, I've been leading tours down the Bright Angel Trail for 12 years, and I know when something's wrong with the canyon. I know the sounds, the rhythms, the way people move through this place. This morning, nothing sounds right. My son Jake is with me. 17, gap year before college. Been shadowing my tours for the past 3 months. Kid's got good instincts for the trail, better than most adults I've guided. He's the one who noticed it first, actually. We were setting up for today's descent. 12 tourists, standard 2-day trip down to Phantom Ranch and back, when Jake pointed across the rim. "Dad, those hikers look wrong." I followed his gaze. 3 people coming up from the trailhead, maybe half a mile out. Their gait was off, shuffling, uncoordinated. I've seen heat exhaustion, altitude sickness, dehydration. This wasn't any of those. They were moving too fast for exhaustion but too erratic for healthy. Probably just inexperienced, I told him. Tourist season. But I grabbed my binoculars anyway. Zeiss 10x42s can spot a condor at 2 miles. I focused on the lead hiker. Jesus Christ, his face. His face was wrong. Skin had this gray-blue tint, almost iridescent in the early light. Lips cracked and bleeding. Eyes, I couldn't see whites, just dark pits. But he was moving. Fast. Not stumbling anymore. Purposeful. "Jake, get the radio. Channel 3, Park Service." My son knows that tone. He had the Motorola XPR 7550 in his hand before I finished the sentence. The 3 hikers split up. No coordination, but deliberate movement. One headed toward the visitor center. One toward Mather Campground. The third continued toward us, toward the trailhead where our tour group was gathering. I keyed the radio. "South Rim Base, this is Guide Kellerman, Bright Angel. We've got 3 hikers exhibiting severe medical distress, moving toward populated areas. Request immediate medical response and possibly security. Static." Then, "Copy, Kellerman. Can you describe the distress?" How do I describe that face? Visual abnormalities. Skin discoloration, possible cyanosis. Erratic movement patterns. They need immediate medical attention but are not responding to environment normally. One is approaching my tour group now. I handed the binoculars to Jake. "Keep eyes on the other 2. Tell me where they go." Our 12 tourists were clustered by the trailhead sign, taking photos, adjusting backpacks. Standard pre-descent prep. The infected hiker, and yeah, that's what my gut was screaming, infected, was maybe 200 yards out now. I approached the group, keeping my voice calm. Professional. "Folks, we're going to have a slight delay. Nothing serious, just need to coordinate with Park Service about trail congestion. Everyone stay together here for a moment." Bethany Rodriguez, accountant from Phoenix, 3rd tour with me. She knows when I'm bullshitting. "Travis, what's wrong?" "Probably nothing. Being cautious." The infected hiker was 100 yards out. 50. His mouth was open. No sound coming out. That's what hit me, silence. No labored breathing. No calls for help. Just that slack jaw and those dead eyes and impossibly fast movement. 20 yards. Everyone behind me. Now, they heard it in my voice. 12 people shuffled back, confused, frightened. The hiker reached us, stopped 5 feet away, swaying slightly. Up close, the skin discoloration was worse, crystalline patterns spreading from his neck up his jaw. Blue-gray fractals. His Park Service volunteer shirt was soaked with something darker than sweat. "Sir, do you need medical help?" I kept my voice level, hands visible. Jake was behind me with the group radio raised. The man's head tilted. Wrong angle. Too far. His jaw worked like he was chewing. Then he lunged. I've dealt with aggressive wildlife, unstable tourists, emergency medical situations. Training kicked in. I sidestepped, used his momentum to spin him past me. He hit the ground hard. Didn't react to the impact. Just rolled and came up moving again. Not toward me, toward the group. Run. Back to the lodge. Now. 12 tourists scattered. Credit to them, they moved fast. Jake stayed with me, which I simultaneously hated and needed. The infected man grabbed at Bethany's backpack. She screamed, twisted away, kept running. He didn't pursue. Instead, he stopped, turned toward the canyon edge, and just walked off. Didn't jump, didn't fall. Walked off the rim like he was stepping off a curb. Jake was beside me. We ran to the edge, 400 feet down to the first switchback. We should have seen a body, should have heard the impact. Instead, we saw him climbing down the cliff face. No rope, no gear, hands and feet finding holds that don't exist. Moving down vertical rock like a spider. My radio crackled. Kellerman, base. We've got reports of multiple medical emergencies across the South Rim. Mather Campground, Visitor Center, Yavapai Point. Stay where you are. Medical teams en route. I looked at Jake, my son, 17 years old, probably about to see things that would scar him forever. Dad, what's happening? I don't know, but we need to get everyone somewhere secure. Lodge interior, away from windows. We gathered the scattered tourists. Bethany was hyperventilating. 2 others were crying. The rest looked shell-shocked. I counted 12. Everyone present. Listen to me, I said. Something's wrong. Some kind of illness spreading through the park. We're going to the main lodge interior room, and we're going to wait for park service to. Screaming from the direction of Mather Campground. Not scared screaming. Not pain screaming. This was rage and terror mixed. Feedback loop of inhuman sound. Then silence. The radio exploded with traffic. Multiple voices, overlapping, desperate. Dozens of them all over the campground. Visitor center is compromised, infected breaking through. Need backup at Bright Angel. They're coming down from the rim. I switched to Park Service Emergency Channel. Rangers were coordinating evacuation, but the volume of incidents, this wasn't isolated. This was outbreak. Jake grabbed my arm. Dad, look. Across the rim, from every visible trail access point, people were emerging. All with that same shuffling then purposeful movement. All with that crystalline skin discoloration spreading across visible skin. And all of them were converging on populated areas or heading into the canyon itself. How many? 50 visible. Maybe 100. Could be more on the north rim. My radio crackled with park superintendent's voice. All personnel. This is Superintendent Volkov. Full park evacuation ordered immediately. This is not a drill. All visitors and non-essential personnel evacuate to designated assembly points outside park boundaries. Essential personnel maintain communication and assist in evacuation. Kellerman, you copy? I keyed the radio. Copy, base. I have 12 tourists at Bright Angel Trailhead. Current status. Highway 64 is clogged. Multiple vehicle accidents, possibly infected drivers. We're setting up evacuation corridors, but hold on. Gunfire. Single shots. Then automatic fire. Base. What's your status? Static. Then a different voice, younger, panicked. This is Ranger Ellis. Base is under attack. Multiple infected breached the station. Superintendent Volkov is down. We're barricading and, oh God, they're climbing through the ventilation. The radio went dead. I looked at my 12 tourists, looked at Jake, looked at the canyon. We can't go up, I said. The roads are blocked and those things are everywhere on the rim. We go down. Into the canyon? Bethany's voice was shrill. You just said they're heading down there. Some are, but the rim is crawling with them. Down at least gives us space, defensible positions. Phantom Ranch has supplies, communication equipment. We get down there, secure the facility, contact whoever's coordinating response. What if there's no response? Jake asked quietly. I met his eyes. My son, asking the question I didn't want to answer. Then we survive until there is. We descended. Bright Angel Trail, 7.5 miles to the canyon floor. Normally takes 8 to 10 hours down. I was pushing for 6, which meant speed that could blow out knees or twist ankles. But staying on the rim meant surrounded by infected with nowhere to run. I took point. Jake brought up the rear, which put him closest to anything following us. Hated that, but I needed him watching our backs. Kid had his phone out, filming. Smart. Documentation might matter. Timestamp: 8:23 a.m. 2 miles down, approaching Indian Garden. The tourists were holding together better than expected. Bethany and 2 others, Patrick Odom, insurance adjuster from Texas, and Lauren DeVries, marine biologist from Seattle, had hiking experience. They set the pace for the others, kept people moving, managed the panic. But panic was there, riding under every forced calm conversation, every coordinated water break. We'd heard continuous screaming from the rim for the first hour, then sporadic gunfire, then nothing. Either the evacuation succeeded, or there was no one left to evacuate. My radio picked up fragments. Emergency frequencies, military channels bleeding through, National Guard mobilizing at Flagstaff, CDC declaring level 4 containment, confirmed cases across northern Arizona, spreading to, then one that made my blood freeze. No survivors from South Rim Base. Site overrun. All personnel presumed infected. Jake heard it too. His hand tightened on his pack strap, but he kept moving. Good kid. Holding it together. At Indian Garden, we stopped. 3 Mile Point, oasis in the desert canyon, water source. The campground looked abandoned. Tents still standing, but no people. Fresh coffee in a percolator, still warm. Everyone drinks. Full bottles. We're not stopping again until Phantom Ranch. While they hydrated, I checked the ranger station. Door open. Radio equipment still running, though no response on any channel. Logbook open on desk. Last entry from yesterday, 6 p.m. Standard evening check-in. Then I saw the map. Someone had marked it. Red X's across the south rim. Blue circles at various points in the canyon itself. Numbers beside each circle. At Phantom Ranch, 23. 23 what? Infected? Survivors? A note scrawled in margin. Descent patterns suggest purpose. Not random flight. Coordinated movement to lower elevations. Why? I photographed it with my phone. Checked signal. 1 bar. Intermittent. Sent the photo to the only emergency number I had. Arizona Department of Emergency Management. Message failed to send. Dad. Jake's voice from the doorway. We need to move. Now. I looked past him. Up the trail, maybe a mile back. Movement. A lot of it. Through my binoculars. Infected. Dozens. Descending the trail in silence. No stumbling now. Coordinated, deliberate movement. They weren't chasing us. They were migrating. Down into the canyon, like salmon returning to spawn. Except salmon don't have crystalline growths spreading across their skin. Don't move in perfect silence despite running full speed down a mountain trail. How long until they reach us? Jake checked his watch. Moving that fast? 20 minutes. Maybe 30 if we're lucky. Then we have 15 minutes before we need to be ahead of them again. Everyone up. We're moving. Patrick raised a hand. Travis, some of us can't maintain this pace. My knees are already shot, and Doris hasn't hiked in 15 years. Then you stay, you get infected. Those things up there? That's what happens. I've seen it on the rim. We keep moving, we might survive. We stop, we die. Your choice. Harsh. True. We moved. The descent from Indian Garden to Phantom Ranch is technical. Switchbacks, narrow trail, cliff edges. Normally you take it slow. Enjoy the geology, marvel at the exposed rock strata telling Earth's history. Now it was a race against infection moving faster than any human should be able to move. Timestamp, 11:47 a.m. For miles down, that's when we found the first body. Young woman, maybe 25. Park ranger uniform, sprawled across the trail. No visible wounds. Just that same crystalline pattern covering most of her exposed skin. Blue-gray fractals spreading from her neck across her face, down her arms. Lauren, the marine biologist, crouched beside her. Travis, look at this. The crystals weren't just surface discoloration. They were growing through the skin, visible beneath the surface like frost patterns on a window, spreading through the vascular system. Some kind of fungal infection? Lauren's voice was clinical, professional horror, or maybe a prion disease, but the presentation is wrong. Prion don't cause physical growth like this. Unless. The ranger's eyes snapped open. We all jumped back, but she didn't move, just stared straight up at the sky, unblinking. Her chest rose and fell, breathing but wrong rhythm. Too slow. Ma'am. I kept my distance. Can you hear me? Her head turned. Smooth, mechanical movement. Those dead eyes fixed on me. Her mouth opened. No sound, just jaw working, grinding. Then she stood up. Didn't roll, didn't use her hands. Just stood like pulled up by strings. Run. We ran. Behind us, the ranger followed. Not fast, but steady, tireless. And we were exhausted, legs burning, lungs screaming for more oxygen in the thin air. The trail narrowed. Single file only. Cliff on one side, sheer drop on the other. Patrick was slowing, knee clearly giving out. I grabbed his arm, pulled him forward. Keep moving. Just a little farther. Ahead, the trail opened up into Box Canyon. Quarter-mile of wider path before the final descent to Phantom Ranch. If we could reach that, movement ahead, not behind. Ahead, more infected, coming up the trail from the canyon floor. Maybe 10, 12, spread across the trail, blocking the path. We were trapped. Infected behind, infected ahead. Cliff edge to our left, rock wall to our right. Jake was beside me, breathing hard. Dad, what do we do? I looked at the rock wall. Rough surface. Handholds visible. 40 feet up to a ledge, maybe leads to an alternate route. Everyone who can climb, climb. Everyone else, stay tight together, center of trail. Make yourselves small. That's insane. Bethany's voice cracked. We can't climb that. You can climb or you can wait for those things. Your call. Lauren was already climbing. Jake right behind her. Patrick couldn't, knee wouldn't take it. For others couldn't or wouldn't try. That left 8 of us on the trail. Infected 30 yards behind, 20 yards ahead. Closing. I pulled out the one weapon I had, a climbing hammer. 7-inch steel pick, designed for ice. Not much, but it was something. Stay behind me. When I say move, you move. The infected ahead reached us first. I counted silently, 12 of them moving in eerie coordination. No communication, no sound, but they moved like a pack. Predatory. Wrong. The lead one was a man in his 50s, tourist clothes shredded, that crystalline growth covering half his face. He reached for me with hands that bent wrong, joints hyperextended. I swung the hammer, caught him in the shoulder. Should have shattered bone. I've set anchors in granite with this tool. Instead, the pick stuck in the crystalline growth like hitting hard rubber. He didn't flinch, didn't react to pain, but he stopped. They all stopped, looking at me, at the hammer embedded in infected flesh. Then the man grabbed the hammer shaft and pulled it, pulling me toward him. His mouth opened impossibly wide. I could see inside, throat lined with those same fractals growing, spreading. Down! Jake's voice from above. I dropped flat. A rock the size of a softball smashed into the infected man's head. He released the hammer, staggered. Not from pain, from structural damage, skull fracture disrupting motor control. Throw anything. Rocks, packs, whatever you've got. The tourists on the ledge started a barrage. Stones, water bottles, anything they could pry loose. Not enough to kill. Can you kill something that doesn't respond to pain? But enough to disrupt, to create chaos. Move. Go around them while they're distracted. I grabbed Patrick, Bethany, the others. We pushed past the infected, staying cliffside, squeezing through gaps. One grabbed at Bethany's pack. She twisted away, pack strap breaking. The infected stumbled with the sudden weight loss, went over the edge. For 100-foot fall. It didn't scream. We cleared the blockade. Ran. Behind us, the infected from both groups merged. 20+ moving in perfect silence down the trail. Not chasing now, just migrating. Descending, the ledge group climbed back down. 8 reunited with 4. 12 still alive. 3 miles to Phantom Ranch. I gasped. We don't stop until we're there. Timestamp, 2:34 p.m. Canyon floor. Phantom Ranch should have been a sanctuary. Stone cabins, mess hall, ranger station, mule corral, supply center for canyon operations. Instead, we found it abandoned. Not empty, abandoned. Food still cooking in the mess hall, burning now. Radio equipment active but unstaffed. Gear scattered like people had dropped everything and run, or been taken. The map's notation, 23. But we saw no one. Not infected, not survivors. Just silent buildings and the sound of the creek flowing past. Spread out. Check every building. Look for survivors, supplies, communication equipment. Jake, Bethany, you're with me. We checked the ranger station first. Radio still operational, multiple frequencies open. I grabbed the mic, cycled through emergency channels. This is Travis Kellerman, Wilderness Guide, transmitting from Phantom Ranch. 12 survivors present. Request immediate evacuation and medical assistance. Over. Static. Any station, this is Phantom Ranch. 12 survivors. We have infected individuals throughout the canyon. Require emergency support. Over. Static. Then, Phantom Ranch. This is Arizona National Guard Command Center. We copy your transmission. Be advised, Grand Canyon is under federal quarantine. No evacuation possible at this time. Repeat, no evacuation possible. You are ordered to shelter in place and avoid all contact with infected individuals. Negative command. We have dozens of infected in the canyon, possibly hundreds. Sheltering in place is not viable. We need extraction. Phantom Ranch extraction is impossible. Airspace over Grand Canyon is restricted. Ground routes are compromised. You are on your own. Document everything. Conserve resources. Good luck. The radio went dead. I looked at Jake, at Bethany, at the 10 others crowded into the small station. On our own, Jake said quietly. Then we secure this place. Make it defensible. We had maybe 3 hours before dark. In that time, we needed to turn Phantom Ranch into a fortress, or at least something that could survive the night. I assigned teams. Patrick and 2 others secured the mess hall, blocked windows, reinforced doors, inventoried food supplies. We had maybe 5 days of provisions for 12 people if we rationed. Lauren and 3 others checked the water system, made sure we had unlimited access to the creek. Jake, Bethany, and I worked on the radio equipment. If guard wasn't coming, maybe we could reach someone else. CDC, news media, anyone who could document what was happening here. Timestamp, 4:47 p.m. We'd locked down 3 of the 6 buildings. Mess hall, ranger station, and 1 bunkhouse. The others we left open, potential decoys. If infected came, maybe they'd be drawn to unlock doors first. That's when we heard it. Footsteps. Multiple sets moving through the compound. I looked through the ranger station window. Infected. At least 30. Moving between buildings, testing doors, climbing walls. Silent. Coordinated. And they were changing. The crystalline growth had spread. Some were completely covered. Blue-gray fractals replacing skin entirely. Others showed early stages, just patches on arms and face. But all of them moved with that same eerie purpose. One approached our window. Female, maybe mid-30s, Park Service uniform. She pressed her face against the glass, nose flattening. Those dead eyes stared directly at me. No recognition, no humanity, just observation. "Don't move," I whispered. "Maybe they track motion." We froze. The infected woman stayed at the window for long seconds. Her jaw worked, grinding. Then she moved on, continuing her patrol of the compound. "They're hunting," Lauren breathed. "Systematic search pattern. They know we're here." "How?" Bethany asked. "They don't see us, don't hear us. How do they know?" "Maybe they smell us," Jake offered. "Or sense heat. Or vibrations in the ground. Or maybe they don't need to know," I said. "Maybe they're just checking every possible hiding spot. Eventually they'll find us." Timestamp: 6:23 p.m. Sunset. The infected didn't leave. As darkness fell, they remained in the compound. Not aggressive, not trying to breach our barricades. Just present. Moving between buildings, occasionally stopping to stare at our position. We counted 47 visible. How many more in the darkness? In the mess hall, Patrick found something. A journal belonging to the ranger who'd been stationed here. The final entries, dated yesterday and today. I read them aloud by flashlight. October 14th, 2024, 9:32 p.m. 3 hikers arrived today showing symptoms of unknown illness. Severe dehydration, skin discoloration, non-responsive to verbal communication. Quarantined them in cabin 3. Reported to South Rim Medical. Waiting for medevac. They're not eating, not drinking, just standing in the cabin, staring at walls. Occasionally they move in perfect synchronization. All 3 turn their heads at same moment, same angle. It's unnatural, deeply unsettling. Called medical again. No response. Radio traffic suggests multiple incidents across park. Are there more cases? October 15th, 2024, 6:47 a.m. Infection has spread. The 3 original patients are now completely covered in crystalline growth. Beautiful in a horrible way. Looks like frost fractals, but it's warm to the touch. Growing through the skin from inside. 2 of my staff are showing early symptoms. Johnson and Reeves. They were in close contact with the patients yesterday. I ordered them to self-quarantine. They refused, said they felt fine. But their skin around the neck shows the same blue-gray discoloration. South Rim still not responding. Tried North Rim, Flagstaff, Phoenix. Nothing but static or fragmented transmissions. Something massive is happening. We're not isolated cases. This is widespread. October 15th, 2024, 11:34 a.m. Everyone is infected. All 8 staff members now showing symptoms to varying degrees. I'm the only one still clear, and I don't know why. Maybe I have natural immunity. Maybe I'm just slower to show symptoms. The infected are changing their behavior. Earlier stages still respond to commands, mostly. But the advanced cases, like the original 3, they don't respond at all. They've started moving with purpose. This morning, all 3 left the cabin simultaneously. No prompting. Walked directly to the creek. Stood in the water for 2 hours. Then emerged and walked into the canyon. Heading downstream toward the Colorado River. The others are following the same pattern. As their symptoms progress, they're drawn to water, then to lower elevations. Like they're being called. Or programmed. I need to leave. Need to reach higher ground. Find survivors, warn someone. But I can't. The only ways out, up the trails, are compromised. I've seen infected coming down both Bright Angel and Kaibab. Dozens. Maybe hundreds. All heading down into the canyon. I'm trapped. We're all trapped. And I'm starting to feel it. A tingling in my fingers. My neck feels warm. God help me. I'm infected too. October 15th, 2024, 2:17 p.m. Final entry. Skin growth visible on my hands now. Spreading fast. I can feel it inside me, in my veins, moving through my blood. It doesn't hurt. That's the worst part. It should hurt. This should be agony. But it's just spreading, claiming me. I understand now. This isn't random. The descent, the coordination, it's all purposeful. We're being drawn to something. The river, below the river, I don't know, but I can feel the pull, like gravity but wrong. Internal gravity pulling me down, down, down. I'm going to walk into the canyon. Not because I choose to, because I have to, because every cell in my body is screaming at me to go deeper. To whoever finds this, don't go down. Don't descend. The canyon is infected. The river is infected. Something down there is calling us, and we have to answer. Stay above. Burn the canyon if you can. Kill us all before we reach whatever's waiting. I'm so sorry. The journal ended there. I looked at my 12 survivors. At Jake, who was pale but composed. At Bethany, who had tears running down her face. At Lauren, who was staring at her hands, checking for discoloration. We're already down, Patrick said. We're at the bottom. If the ranger was right, we're exactly where we shouldn't be. Then we go back up, I said. Tomorrow morning, first light, we climb out. With 47 infected in the compound? Bethany's voice was shrill. They'll see us. They'll follow. They're already following. That's what they do. They descend. We climb. We move opposite to their pattern. Maybe they ignore us. And if they don't? I had no answer for that. Timestamp: 11:43 p.m. We'd been trapped in the ranger station for 5 hours. The infected continued their patrol. Tireless, silent. Occasionally one would stop and stare at our building for long minutes before moving on. Jake was monitoring the radio. Most channels were dead. But one, a military frequency, was still active. Fragmented transmissions, heavily encrypted, but some came through clear. Containment perimeter holding at Flagstaff, but cases reported in Sedona, Williams. Recommend immediate aerial sterilization. Grand Canyon is lost. Negative on sterilization. Too many potential survivors. Civilian casualties unacceptable. CDC confirms infection is not airborne. Requires direct contact or fluid transmission. Quarantine protocols. Then one that made my blood run cold. Seismic activity detected in Grand Canyon region. Epicenter below Colorado River. Depth inconsistent with tectonic movement. Recommend investigation. Seismic activity. Below the river, where the ranger said something was calling. Dad. Jake's voice was tight. What if the infection isn't natural? What if it's not biological at all? What are you saying? The crystalline growth. The coordination. The way they're all drawn to one location. What if it's not a disease? What if it's something else? Something controlling them? That's insane. Is it? We're in the Grand Canyon surrounded by 47 infected people who move in perfect silence and stare at us through windows for hours without blinking. What part of this is sane? He had a point. Timestamp: 2:34 a.m. October 16th. I was dozing when Bethany screamed. I jerked awake. She was at the window pointing into the darkness. They're leaving. All of them. I looked. She was right. The infected were moving. Not toward us. Past us. Downstream toward the Colorado River. All 47 moving in the same direction, same pace. Silent migration in the dead of night. Within 10 minutes, the compound was empty. We need to go, I said. Now, while they're gone. We climb out, fast as we can, before they come back. It's dark, Patrick protested. That trail in the dark? Someone will fall. Someone will die if we stay. Pack essentials. We move in 5 minutes. Timestamp: 3:12 a.m. Bright Angel Trail ascending. Climbing in darkness with flashlights. Dangerous. Stupid. Necessary. We made good time. Terror is an excellent motivator. 2 miles up. Approaching Indian Garden. By 5 a.m. Another 5 miles to the rim. That's when we found them. All of them. The infected weren't gone. They were gathered. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands, crowded into Indian Garden. Filling the campground, the trails, every open space. All facing the same direction. Downstream, toward the river. And they were changing. The crystalline growth had accelerated. Most were completely covered now. blue-gray fractals replacing flesh entirely. Some were starting to merge, bodies pressed together, growths interlocking, forming larger structures. They weren't people anymore. They were becoming something else. We froze. 12 humans surrounded by thousands of infected. If they noticed us, we were done. But they didn't. They were focused entirely on whatever was downstream, whatever was calling them. Slowly, I whispered. Very slowly. We go around. Stay off the main trail. Use the access paths. We edged along the canyon wall, inches at a time. The infected didn't react, didn't turn, didn't move, except one, a child, maybe 10 years old. Early stage infection, just patches of crystal on her arms and face. She was standing at the edge of the gathered mass, separate from the others, and she was looking at us. Keep moving, I hissed. Don't stop. The child tilted her head. Then she raised one arm, pointed at us. Every infected head turned. Thousands of dead eyes fixing on our group. Run! We ran. Up the trail, abandoning stealth for speed. Behind us, a sound I'd never heard from the infected before. A humming. Low frequency. Felt in the chest more than heard. All of them humming together, single tone, building. The trail was steep. My legs burned. Patrick was falling behind. Jake grabbed his arm, pulled him forward. The humming grew louder, then stopped. Silence. I risked a glance back. The infected weren't following. They'd turned away, returning to their vigil. But the child remained, watching us flee. We didn't stop running for another mile. Timestamp: 8:47 a.m. For miles from the rim, we'd lost them, for now. But we'd also lost something else, hope. If there were thousands of infected in Indian Garden, how many were on the rim? How many throughout the canyon? The ranger's final entry suggested they were all drawn downstream, but we'd seen enough heading up to know not all of them followed that pattern. We stopped to rest. Half the group was done, physically and mentally. Patrick's knee was destroyed. Two others, Doris and Raymond, retirees from Wisconsin, were dehydrated, showing signs of heat exhaustion. And Jake was sick. Dad. His voice was quiet, careful. I need to show you something. We walked away from the group. He pulled up his sleeve. Blue-gray discoloration on his inner forearm. Small patch, maybe 2 inches across. Crystalline patterns visible beneath the skin. My son. My boy. Infected. When? My voice didn't sound like mine. I don't know. Maybe when we were in the compound. Maybe earlier. It doesn't hurt, but I can feel it. Spreading. Slow, but steady. We'll find help. CDC is working on treatments. Military has protocols. Dad. Stop. Jake's eyes were dry. Calm. You know there's no treatment. The ranger said it. Once it starts, it doesn't stop. I'm infected. Question is, what do we do now? What do you do when your child tells you they're dying? When they're standing in front of you, looking healthy except for a small patch of wrong on their arm, asking you to decide their fate. We get you to the rim. Find medical attention. Maybe nothing. You saw those people in Indian Garden. That's my future. That's what I'm becoming. No. Yes. He grabbed my shoulders. Listen to me. I've got maybe a day before I'm like them. Maybe less. We use that time. I can still think, still move on my own. I can help get everyone to the rim. But once we're there, once everyone's safe, you need to leave me behind. Jake, you need to leave me behind. Or I'll become one of those things and I might hurt someone. I might hurt you, my son, 17 years old, asking me to abandon him to infection because it's the right thing to do. I couldn't answer, couldn't speak, just pulled him into a hug and felt him shaking against me. We'll figure it out, I finally said. One step at a time. Right now we climb. We rejoined the group. I didn't tell them. Jake didn't want them to know. Fear would spread faster than infection if they knew one of us was compromised. Timestamp: 11:23 a.m. 2 miles from the rim, the trail was clear. No infected visible ahead or behind. Almost too quiet. We should have been relieved. Instead, dread sat heavy in my gut. Jake was deteriorating. The patch on his arm had spread to his shoulder. He was moving slower, breathing harder. Not from exhaustion, from the infection spreading through his system. Bethany noticed. "Jake, you okay?" "Fine. Just tired." "Let me see." Lauren, the marine biologist, was in full clinical mode. Before Jake could stop her, she'd grabbed his arm, pushed up the sleeve. The group went silent. "Oh God," Doris whispered. "He's infected." Panic rippled through them instantly. People backed away from Jake like he was radioactive. "Everyone calm down," I said. "The ranger's notes said it's not airborne. You're not in danger from proximity." "But he's one of them." Raymond's voice was rising. "He'll turn. He'll attack us." "He's not one of them. He's Jake. He's a person. And he's helped save every one of your lives today. You owe him better than this." Patrick stepped forward. "Travis is right. The kid's been solid. We don't abandon him." "Then what do we do?" Bethany asked. "Keep climbing with someone who's turning into a monster? What happens when he goes full infected?" Jake spoke, his voice steady. "Then you leave me. But not yet. I'm still me, still thinking clearly. Let me help get everyone to the rim. After that, I stay behind." "No," I said. "Dad, no. We find another way. There is no other way. You know that." I knew it. God help me, I knew it. But I couldn't say it. Couldn't agree to leave my son to die alone in this canyon. We climbed. Timestamp: 1:47 p.m. Half mile from the rim, we could see the top. See the parking lot, the visitor center, the buildings. All silent. No movement. No vehicles. The rim looked abandoned, but we could hear sounds from below. That humming again. Distant but growing. The infected at Indian Garden, still gathered. Still waiting for whatever was coming. Jake stumbled. Caught him. The infection had spread to his chest now, visible at his collar. His skin was warm, not fever hot, but wrong temperature. Like touching sun-heated rock. "Almost there," I said. "Just a little further, Dad. I can feel it. The pull." Same thing the ranger described. Something's calling me back down. Into the canyon. Toward the river. "You fight it." "I am fighting it. But it's getting stronger." My thoughts are changing. I'm starting to forget why I cared about things. Why anything mattered. It's like my emotions are being drained away, replaced with just purpose, directive, descend, return, merge. "Jake, listen to me. You're stronger than this. You're my son. You fight this thing with everything you have." "I'm trying. But Dad, I don't think I can fight much longer." We reached the rim at 2:34 p.m. The south rim was a war zone. Bodies everywhere, infected and human both. Barricades had been set up and overrun. Military vehicles abandoned. Shell casings littering the ground. Blood and crystalline growth splattered across buildings. But no people, living or infected. Just silence and death. "Where is everyone?" Lauren asked. I checked the visitor center. Empty. Checked the ranger station. Ransacked but empty. Every building the same, evidence of desperate fighting. Then nothing. The parking lot was full of vehicles. Thousands of them. Tourists who'd driven here and never left. Keys still in many of them. But the access roads were blocked by crashes, abandoned checkpoints, burned military trucks. We were trapped. Higher ground, yes, but no way out. Jake collapsed. I ran to him. The infection had accelerated, covering most of his torso now, spreading up his neck toward his face. His eyes were still clear, still human. But for how long? "Everyone get supplies from the vehicles," I ordered. "Food, water, anything useful. Set up in the visitor center. We're staying here tonight." "And him?" Raymond pointed at Jake. "What do we do about him?" I wanted to hit him, wanted to scream, Instead, I said, "He stays with me. Anyone has a problem with that, you're welcome to leave." No one left, but no one came closer either. Timestamp 6:12 p.m. I sat with Jake in a corner of the visitor center, away from the others. The infection had reached his jaw now, blue-gray fractals spreading across his skin like frost. But he could still talk, still think. "Tell me about Mom," he said quietly. "His mother, dead 3 years now. Cancer. I guided her through the canyon once, our honeymoon. She'd loved this place. Said it made her feel small in the best way. Reminded her that human problems were tiny against geological time. She'd be proud of you," I said. "How you've handled this. Your courage." "I'm terrified, Dad." "I know. Me too. What happens to me after? Do I just stop being me? Or am I still in here, trapped, watching myself do things I can't control? I don't know." The ranger's notes said they were being called, drawn to something. What if that's worse than death? What if we don't die, we just become part of something else? Something wrong? I had no answer, just held his hand, his normal hand, still flesh, still warm and human, and tried not to think about tomorrow. Timestamp 9:47 p.m. Jake's breathing changed, slower, deeper. His eyes weren't focusing right anymore. The infection covered everything now except his face, and that was starting. "Dad." His voice was slurred, like talking through Novocaine. "It's time. You need to. I'm not leaving you. Have to. I can feel it. The directive. It's overwhelming. In a few hours, maybe less, I won't be able to stop myself. I'll head back down, and I might hurt someone trying. Then I'll restrain you, tie you up until we figure out." There's nothing to figure out. Anger in his voice, last flash of human emotion. "I'm dying, Dad. Not my body, my mind, myself. I'm being erased and replaced with something else. And I need you to let me go while I'm still me enough to say goodbye." Tears were running down my face. When had I started crying? "I can't. You have to. For me. Please. I don't want anyone to see me like them. Don't want you to see me like that. Let me walk down into the canyon while I still have choice, while I can still decide. Let me have that much control over my death. This isn't fair. You're 17. You're supposed to have a whole life. I know, but I don't. This is what I get, and I'm okay with it. Or I will be, if you let me go with dignity." How do you say goodbye to your child? How do you watch them walk away knowing they won't come back? Timestamp 11:34 p.m. We stood at the rim, just the two of us. The others stayed in the visitor center, giving us privacy. Jake's face was almost completely covered now. Only his eyes remained clear, human. My son looking out from behind crystalline growth. "I love you, Dad. I love you too. So much. Take care of the others. Get them out if you can. And don't blame yourself. This wasn't your fault. Just bad luck. Wrong place, wrong time. Jake. It's okay. I'm ready." He hugged me. I felt the crystal growth against my skin. Hard, warm, wrong. But underneath, still my son. Still Jake. Then he pulled away, turned toward the trail, started walking. I watched him descend, watched his shape disappear into darkness, heard his footsteps fade. My son, walking into death, choosing it because it was better than the alternative. I stood there for hours, until Bethany came and found me, pulled me back inside. I couldn't speak, couldn't cry anymore, just numb. Timestamp 3:47 a.m. October 17th. I was staring at nothing when the radio crackled to life. "All stations, this is National Guard Command. Be advised, seismic event imminent in Grand Canyon region. All personnel evacuate immediately. Repeat, evacuate immediately. Event expected at 0600 hours. This is not a drill." I grabbed the mic. "Command, this is Travis Kellerman, South Rim. We have 11 survivors, no vehicle access. Roads are blocked. Require air evacuation. Kellerman air evacuation authorized. Choppers inbound to South Rim helipad. ETA 30 minutes. Be prepared for immediate dust-off. Copy. What's the seismic event? What's happening? Static. Then, unknown. But CDC analysis suggests the infected are gathering at a specific point. We believe they're constructing something underground, near the Colorado River. Structural analysis indicates potential collapse. The canyon itself may become unstable. My son is down there. Jake Kellerman, age 17. He's infected, but he was still conscious when he descended. Is there any chance? Negative. Anyone in the canyon when the event occurs will not survive. I'm sorry, the radio went dead. I looked at the others. We need to get to the helipad. Now. Timestamp. 4:23 a.m. We gathered what we could carry. Moved as a group toward the helipad half-mile from the visitor center, across the rim. The sun was starting to rise. In the growing light, we could see into the canyon. Movement. Everywhere. Thousands of infected. Tens of thousands, all flowing toward one point. Converging like water toward a drain. The humming was audible now even from the rim. A vibration that made my teeth ache. And at the center, where they were all gathering, something was rising. Not rock, not earth, something else. Blue-gray crystalline structures, massive, growing up from the canyon floor, like fingers reaching from underground. Or roots. What the hell is that? Patrick breathed. Lauren had binoculars. She was staring at the structures, her face pale. It's not just growth. It's organized, geometric. Those patterns, they're not random. That's architecture. Someone's building something down there. Not someone, I said. Something. The humming intensified. The structures grew taller. And the infected, all of them, were climbing onto the structures, pressing themselves against the crystal surfaces. Their bodies were merging with it, becoming part of the architecture. Jake was down there. My son, somewhere in that mass of infected and crystal, becoming part of whatever was rising from beneath the canyon. The sound of helicopter rotors. 2 Black Hawks coming in from the north, flying low and fast. That's our ride, I said. Move, we ran. The helipad was old, rarely used, but clear enough for landing. The choppers touched down, side doors already open. Crew chiefs waving us aboard. 11 passengers. I shouted over the rotor wash. Load up. We're wheels up in 90 seconds. We climbed aboard. All 11 of us. Last one in. Door gunner pulled me inside and slapped the pilot's seat. The Black Hawk lifted immediately, nose dropping as it accelerated away from the rim. Through the open door, I watched the canyon fall away. Watched those crystalline structures still growing, infected still flowing toward them. The sun breaking over the horizon, illuminating the full scale of what was happening. The entire canyon was infected, from river to rim, thousands of square miles. And at the center, something vast and impossible was emerging. What is it? Bethany asked beside me. What are we looking at? I don't know, I said. But it's been down there a long time, waiting, and we woke it up. Timestamp, 6:03 a.m. We were 20 miles from the canyon when it happened. The ground below rippled, a shockwave visible even from the air, spreading outward from the canyon's center. The Black Hawk shuddered, pilot fighting to maintain control. Then the canyon collapsed. Not all of it, not the rim, but the interior, miles of canyon floor, walls, structures, fell inward, like a sinkhole opening, swallowing everything. The infected, the crystal structures, everything disappeared into the collapsing earth. Dust rose in massive plumes, obscuring everything. The humming stopped. Silence. The pilot's voice crackled over the intercom. What the hell was that? Seismic event, the co-pilot responded. Massive subsurface collapse. Magnitude, Jesus, showing 7.2 on seismic monitors. The canyon just fell into itself. I stared at the dust cloud. Somewhere in there, Jake had fallen too, along with thousands of others, all buried under millions of tons of rock and earth. Was he dead? Or was he still down there, infected, part of that thing trapped underground? I didn't know which was worse. Timestamp: 8:47 a.m. Flagstaff Emergency Operations Center. They separated us. Medical evaluation, decontamination, quarantine. CDC personnel in full hazmat gear, taking samples, running tests, asking questions I couldn't answer. How did the infection spread? I don't know. Did you have direct contact with infected individuals? Yes, but I'm not showing symptoms. Why do you think that is? I don't know. Your son, Jake Kellerman, he was infected. Yes. At what point did symptoms appear? I don't know exactly. Maybe 12 hours before he descended. And you allowed him to descend into the canyon voluntarily? He chose to protect the others. You didn't try to restrain him? Prevent him from returning to the infected mass. What could I say? That I let my son walk to his death because he asked me to? That I stood there and watched him disappear into darkness rather than tie him down and force him to fight an infection that couldn't be fought? He was dying anyway, I said. He wanted to die as himself, on his own terms. I gave him that. The interviewer made notes. No judgment in her voice, but I judged myself enough for both of us. Timestamp: 2:34 p.m. They cleared me. No infection. No symptoms. Blood tests normal. Brain scans normal. I was one of the lucky ones, exposed but not infected. Why? They didn't know. Genetic resistance, maybe, or just chance. 10 of us made it out. 11 if you count Jake before he descended. Out of how many? The South Rim alone held thousands of visitors when the outbreak started. Add the North Rim, the canyon interior, all the hikers and campers and rafters, tens of thousands gone. In less than 48 hours, the CDC interviewer came back one more time. Mr. Kellerman, I need to ask you about the structures, the crystalline growth formations. Your group's biologist, Dr. DeVries, claims they showed organized architecture. Can you confirm? Yes. And your interpretation of what you saw? How do you explain the impossible? Something was down there, I said. Underground. Maybe it's been there for millennia. And the infection, the whole thing, was it waking up, calling people down, using them as building materials, or maybe as communication. I don't know, but it was purposeful, intentional. That wasn't natural. The current theory is that the infection was a fungal organism similar to cordyceps that had been dormant in the canyon's geological formations. Seismic activity or climate change may have activated it. That's not what I saw. What did you see? Something vast, something old, something that used human beings as tools to build itself a way to the surface. She closed her notebook. Thank you, Mr. Kellerman. That will be all. She didn't believe me. Nobody would. They'd write it up as a natural disaster. Unprecedented fungal outbreak combined with seismic activity. Tragic loss of life. Lessons learned. New protocols established. But I knew the truth, and I'd carry it forever. Timestamp: 7:12 p.m. Quarantine housing. They kept us isolated for 2 weeks, making sure no secondary infections emerged. None did. Whatever happened in the canyon stayed in the canyon. Literally. The collapse had sealed everything. The CDC sent ground-penetrating radar teams, but the depth was impossible to scan. Whatever was down there, if anything survived, was buried under half a mile of rock. The Grand Canyon was closed indefinitely, maybe permanently. National monument status revoked. Area declared geological hazard zone. Fences and barriers erected. Military patrols. Officially, 4,827 people died. That was just the confirmed count from visitor logs and ranger records. The real number was probably double, maybe triple. And Jake, my son, listed as deceased, body unrecoverable. They gave me his personal effects, wallet, phone, the few things he'd left in the ranger station. His last text message was to his mother's old number. Never sent, "Love you, Mom. Wish you were here to explain what's happening. Dad's trying so hard. I'm scared, but I'm okay. Tell Dad I don't blame him for anything. Tell him I love him." I read it 50 times, 100 times, until the screen blurred and I couldn't read anymore. Timestamp: October 31st, 2024, 11:47 p.m. They released us, gave us debriefings, non-disclosure agreements, trauma counseling resources. We were free to go, try to rebuild our lives, forget what happened. I couldn't forget. Bethany and I stayed in touch. The others scattered, wanting to put distance between themselves and Arizona. I didn't blame them, but I couldn't leave. Jake was down there, buried, maybe dead, maybe something worse. I drive to the canyon every week, park at the closed gates, look across the barrier at the rim. It looks normal, beautiful, like nothing happened, but I know better. Sometimes late at night, I swear I can feel it. That humming, distant, barely perceptible, like it's still down there, still alive, still building. They say the collapse was complete, that nothing could survive under that much rock. But they don't know. They didn't see what I saw. They didn't watch their son walk into the darkness to become part of something incomprehensible. Timestamp: November 15th, 2024, 3:34 a.m. I can't sleep anymore. When I close my eyes, I see Jake's face, the crystals spreading across his skin. His eyes, still human, still my son, looking at me one last time before he descended. I see those structures rising from the canyon floor, the infected merging with them, becoming architecture, becoming something new. And I wonder, is Jake still down there? Is any part of him still conscious, still aware? Or did he die when the canyon collapsed? I don't know which answer I'm hoping for. The CDC says the infection is contained, that the collapse sealed it away permanently. They monitor seismic activity constantly, watching for any sign of resurgence. So far, nothing. But I know, deep down, in the part of me that stood on that rim and watched my son disappear into infected darkness, I know, it's not over. Whatever was down there, whatever called thousands of people into the canyon and built itself from their bodies, it's patient. It's been waiting for millennia, can wait longer, and someday, maybe years from now, maybe decades, maybe centuries, it will wake up again. The canyon will open, and we won't be ready. Timestamp: November 21st, 2024. Final entry. I'm recording this because someone needs to know. The official story is wrong. This wasn't a natural disaster. This wasn't a fungal outbreak. This was first contact. Not with aliens from space, but with something from below. Something that's been here longer than humanity. Something that sees us as raw materials. The infection spread through touch, through proximity, through something we don't understand. It targeted hikers, tourists, rangers, anyone in the canyon. It drew them down to the lowest point, to the river, to the source, and it used them to build something. I don't know what. None of us do. But it was vast and purposeful and wrong in ways that defy language. Jake died in that canyon, along with thousands of others. But I don't think they're gone. I think they're still down there, part of that structure, part of that thing, waiting. If you're listening to this, if you find this recording, stay away from the Grand Canyon. Don't let them reopen it. Don't let anyone go down there, because it's not dead. It's just sleeping, and someday it will wake up hungry. This is Travis Kellerman, Wilderness Guide. Former Wilderness Guide. Survivor. Father, God help us all. End recording. Emergency Alert Archive. Federal Emergency Management Agency. Incident Report. Grand Canyon Outbreak. Classification. Level 5 Containment. Date: October 15th to 17th, 2024. Final casualty count: 4,827 confirmed deceased. Missing/presumed deceased: 3,241. Survivors: 127. Status: contained via geological collapse. Ongoing monitoring, active. Site access, permanently restricted. Seismic activity log, November 3rd. Minor tremor, 2.1 magnitude. Epicenter below former Colorado River channel. November 18th, minor tremor, 2.3 magnitude, same location. December 2nd, minor tremor, 2.7 magnitude, same location. Pattern analysis: tremors increasing in frequency and magnitude. Recommendation: continue indefinite quarantine of area. Secondary recommendation: establish deep earth monitoring station. Tertiary recommendation: develop containment protocols for potential breach event. Probability of resurgence: unknown. End report.